Jordan,
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
morning, man.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's bright and early. I'm not used to doing Teams calls so early
I
on
know
a Monday morning.
it is early. I think I'm an hour behind you too.
Where are you at?
Houston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so no big deal. I usually start around 8 anyway, but yeah.
So you travel then? You travel quite a bit.
Yeah, like every 2 weeks for the most part.
Okay.
It's not too bad.
No, that's not bad. That's good. It gives you a little bit of break from home.
That's true. Yeah. I get to plan the travel too, so I know when to expect it. So
Yeah.
um
Um, okay, here we go. So both my board members just hopped on a text and said one is in a meeting right now, and the other one is on an airplane. So
okay.
it looks like it's just you and I again. And so I guess my question, a couple questions for you is like, I see that it's required and they see that it's required per the reserve study, but is there a way, maybe you could send me an email or give me an explanation of why it's required to give that such a large amount and I guess, yeah, they want to understand why, and then if there's any other options because of some of the stuff I've explained with the project coming up. And um, so I don't know. I'm not as good as at explaining it as you are. And so I don't know if you want to hop off here and just type up an email to the board and explain to them, hey, Florida statute says this, we have to do this, or just even if those are even things. Um,
Sure. Um okay, I'm writing that down. So I can take a stab at writing an email. I'd probably just send it to you if you think, and if you think there's anything that like you want me to expand on, I can before you send it to the board. Just to make sure that we're filling any gaps, because I know you said that there's a had some like maybe some specific questions or things they wanted to ask or see. So yeah, I can do that. I can send that to you today, and then I guess we can go from there. I'd like to talk to them though, because I think it'd make a lot more sense. But yeah, we can start there, and
I
then
know. I was hoping to, and well, I could text one other guy if you have a second, and well, you probably do. You just hopped on here, so I'll
sure,
text one
yeah.
other guy and see. Um, he usually gets to work really early, so let me see. Oh, he sure does. Okay, he does. Let me share this link with him. Where's my
Okay.
mouse? And then oh, he's hopping on. I'll pull up our reserve study so I can. Unless you want to pull it up and then kind of scroll through just those few places, because this will be a little bit not new to him, but he wasn't prepped on, I didn't prep him on the situation. I just prepped Linda and Mark.
Okay.
Um, there he is. Admit. I'll pull up the reserve study at a minimum so I can, Greg, thanks for joining.
What's up?
So we're on a call. Mark ended up being on a plane, and Linda is at a work meeting, and we had to schedule a meeting with Jordan, our reserve advisors. And so Jordan's team provides our reserve study, and our reserve study tells us what reserve items need to be covered at the association and at what dollar amount. We recently got the reserve study updated, um, and I'm clicking on it now so I can share my screen with it. Reserve advisors, reserve advisors report. Um, and so in the report, reserve advisors advises that I'm gonna hit share screen right here. Reserve advisors advises that we put almost our entire reserve amount, which is around $950,000, into structural reserves. So we have two reserve pots. One is traditional reserves and one is structural reserves. And the problem in my mind with putting the entire reserve caboodle that we have in structural is that you can't ever move it back out. It can't go back to traditional reserves, which would be like some plumbing, some
Yeah.
spigots, pool, parking lot, different things like that. And so my question to Jordan was, well, hey, why do we have to give all of our reserve funds to structural? Because it does block them off. And so I put Mark and Linda on a call so that he could better explain that. And so since they can't, I figured I'd have you hop on.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Jordan, I don't know if I explained all that perfectly,
So
but
he,
I'll
so Jordan, you're explaining why we can't, why we have to, why we're throwing it all in structural.
Sure. Yeah. So Kevin and I have had some conversations before this too, and so long story short, um, what how we determine that is really like a long calculus equation, and so what we're trying to do is find the lowest amount to be contributed to reserves in structural and non-structural, and when we do that, it all goes to structural. It says like that's actually the lowest point on the equation for you to contribute. Um, you know, if you move all the
so
money to
so your
structural and all the
software
non-structural.
tells you that.
That's correct. Yeah. So there's actually a chart. If you scroll up to what page is that on? It's going to be on page 7 of the report.
Why does it have to be allocated into two? Is that required?
Yeah. So it's required by the statute that you have to fund structural and non-structural elements separately. So
Separately.
Yeah.
you can vote to partially fund or not fund at all the non-structural with the membership vote. But you're required by the statute to fund structural. So the caveat to that, if there's a chart there, I'm not sure if both you can, or if Greg, you can see that, but um, I told Kevin that I understand that it's kind of scary in a way to have start with $0 in non-structural because it looks like you had some projects you wanted to tackle the next year or two. And so I put 50,000 or 100,000 into non-structural. It doesn't move. You are going to pay more to reserves just because you can see on that chart, the more you move to the left, the higher the contribution amount gets. But you at least would be able to start with the balance there, and you could always move money into structural if needed. That being said, we can't count that money as structural. So obviously your structural amount would go up because you're funding some to the non-structural. Um, so I understand like you could, if you know, for comfortability, you probably could move 50 to 100,000 and leave that in non-structural. That way you can start some of the projects that you have. But like I said, the calculus equation spits out that you'll be paying a little bit more. But like I said, for comfortability, that's an option.
So this, I guess what I'm
Who is
trying to
making,
understand.
who is making, who is inquiring about this, Kev?
So I really am. I'm kind of driving the question, and it poses a big, not a big problem, but it poses a problem to like Mark and Linda because we have the $30,000 spigot project we want to do and the electrical can project, and I think it was around 30 as well. And so you're talking about 60 right off the bat that we need to use within the next few months out of reserves. And if we shift all of this into structural, then we have to fund those two projects some other way if they're not put into special assessment, and nobody wants that. So um, it just
Kevin,
brought
remind
some
me too. I
questions
know
up.
we took this an extra step further. I can maybe offer some. So you budgeted the amount that we recommended, correct, for 2026, the 117,000 to
That's
structural reserve. Okay.
Yep, that's
So
exactly right.
that is what you need to meet the requirement. So the split necessarily is not, there's a gray area with it when it comes to the statute, right? You had that money in reserves. You didn't need to split that money now. You need to split it by the end of the year for sure. So that being said, what you could do is you could spend the money that you need to and out of non-structural, but because your balances are going to change, that would trigger the need for a reserve study update at the end of this year, beginning of next, to reevaluate those balances and split it again. I know you're taking on a lot of projects structurally and non-structurally coming up. I know you have a large one that's coming up at special assessment. So realistically, I think you could spend the money that you need to where you need to, and then after these large expenses, towards the end of the year, update this so we know what you have in the bank and we can split it again. Most
I
likely, it'll
see.
probably still go to structural, but that way at least you've made it, through those projects of this year is, an option.
Okay, so end goal is have it done by the have everything balanced by the end of the year. And so what would that do you happen to know what that cost is? What does it cost us to just do an update on a reserve study?
Sure. So likely we'll do a level three, since we just let's inspect this. So level three is just we update it from the office mainly for financial reasons.
Oh,
Balances
okay.
changed. And it's usually about half the cost. I can get you a proposal for that too, but yeah, it's usually about half of what you paid to get the initial study.
Okay. Um, well, Greg, I think that makes me feel a lot better. It allows us to get started on at least the minimum of those two projects, and then at the end of the year, we get an update. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was only 4,000 for the reserve study. I can't remember,
So you're probably looking at
4,400 or something.
so you're probably looking at about 2,200 ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, let's talk about it and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah.
Not trying to sell you anything. Like I said, we're trying to hit a moving target. So like me trying to tell you, hey, you can put this much into structural, non-structural. Um, but like I said, you don't have to split it exactly how we say at this given point, especially since you have that special assessment amount. So we understand you may need to cover the differences in either direction. So the statute's kind of clear about that. What does trigger a update? It's you need it every 10 years. You can pause for milestone repairs, and then three is if anything significantly alters the recommendation or the funding balances. So you would be number three. That would kind of require that update. So
Okay, I see. Okay, well, I think that should be good. I recorded this meeting to hope in hopes I could pull the transcription and summarize it for you, Jordan. So if you want, you don't even necessarily have to send me an email. I'll drop our transcript in AI and have it summarize it for us real quick,
awesome.
and then I'll send it to the rest of the board. I'll just make it, real short.
Okay, that sounds like a
So,
plan.
all right, well, I appreciate you with the back and forth and all, trying to set up meetings and everything.
Sure, absolutely. Let me know if I can help further, if anything's not clear. Yeah, we're here to help.
Okay, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right,
Kev,
you too.
stay on, Kev.
Yeah, I got you. That sounds good.
Okay, I'll drop off. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
What the fuck we gonna do with Valcor, Kev?
Oh man, I thought you were going to talk to me about the reserve study. I know, Kevin and
I mean, I
Kevin,
talked to Mark yesterday, and Mark talked to Kevin Mayer, and they just want to drop
yeah,
him. I
yeah, they put
fuck.
me in a group text, and I told them, I said, hey, I'm I'm with you all. I'm not going to buck the system. I said, but you're going to have to come up with a plan to address the structural issues because the problem still stands. The structural issues are now 4 months past being fixed.
I know.
So I said, we'll get through this together, but taking a step backwards is it's a detriment, like to
What's
structural
Atlantic
issues.
Beach gonna do?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. We have a duty as a management firm and a board to make the structural repairs. And I get that we need to possibly take a step backwards, but man, that puts us pretty liable. We're on the hook if like a balcony drops or this happens or that happens structurally. So that's kind of a scary thought.
We're not in an ideal position right now, Kev.
We're not in an ideal position. And so I feel bad for Valcourt because they're the ones that are the face of like the problems. But I told Mark and Kevin, this is Belt's fault. If Belt would have caught these errors in
Yeah.
the project manual before they published it and sent it to everyone, we'd be golden right now. But now there's an $850,000 variance and we got to go back to bid.
They gotta make it right though. Valcourt and Belt have to make this right.
Well, so that's what I told Sam. I flipped out on Sam a few weeks ago after we found out the transient windows weren't included. And I put him in an email, and he then came back and said, "You're absolutely right. It's 100% our fault. We have to eat this." But when you say eat this, that's not a pride thing. I'm not asking you to eat it from
No,
a
I don't give
pride
a fuck about
perspective.
pride. I'm talking
I'm
about
asking you
dollars
to,
and cents.
yeah, I'm asking you to eat it monetarily. What are we talking about? And so. You're not on that text with Greg or with Kevin, Mark and I, but let me read to you. Kevin had a really good plan yesterday. He said have some very good accurate intel on Valcourt. Okay, so they found out Valcourt is bought by private equity.
Yeah, I heard that.
And they're having some issues. And so he said this is the approach they're taking is to give Jeremy the entire project and
I
allow him
know. And
to
then he's
sub it
gonna
out.
sub it out. That'd be a fucking
And
disaster.
yeah, and that's a mess. And so this is what he says. Here's my recommendation for the board. Start initiatives with Belt to support immediately terminating Valcourt's contract because the change order of 835,000 is needed to rebid the work. He said we'll need the attorney to cover all of that. Get with Belt on the contract termination and discuss based up on the multiple gaps on them from the project. We would like them to sit or to do this in good faith. So this is where Belt is going to eat it. Kevin is saying he needs them to update the project manual with the architect, the windows, the transium windows, the doors, and the Nichiha, include all of that in the project manual so it can be bid out across all vendors and not just get Valcourt's cost on the Nichiha. We get it on it from everyone. Um, and then have Belt eat that cost. So they need to update the manual, send it all back out to bid, and every bit of that cost be free or not fall on us. So I don't know.
What a disaster.
It's a disaster. And it really hurts me because it's not so bad on the special assessment side of things. Sure, we can keep kicking that can down the road, but
Can we though? Like
it
we've
sets
been
us.
kicking it down the road.
It would be nice if now we come to this point and we say because of this, like at tonight's board meeting, because of this, we're going to special assess for 5 million so we can get money in the bank so that when these bids come back, we can select and roll with permits. I like that thought. And that also allows us to special assess now and in this year. We can figure out the second special assessment whenever we want. It can be done in 2027.
Mark's so worried about the fucking residents though.
I don't know. We
He
can't
just,
start a project without funds though. So I'm like, what's there to be
anytime I
afraid
bring
of?
that up to him, he never responds to it. I get what you're saying, buddy. Well, we need money in. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Um, um, yeah, my fear is because of that, him being afraid, and because of the slowdown of the project now, the possible reset back to bidding, we won't start until like January of like we won't actually start construction until December or January of I mean, because think about it, Greg. I gave this timeline to Mark the other day on the phone. We talked for like a half hour the other day. I said, Mark, if I follow Florida statute and say I special assess at the May 18th meeting, you have to give the members time to refinance their homes and get that money in their account. I said, so I got to give them a July 1 deadline for that first payment. Well, they'll have a 10-day grace period from there. So say we get 80% of that first payment by July 10th. Then they're going to start pulling permits and doing things. We're not starting until August or September on actual work because they have to order everything with the money we brought in.
Yeah.
So think about doing that with this reset we're about to do. You're talking about an August or September special assessment, get funds in October, November for them to start in December and January. I don't know. The city could murder us. The city could walk around and put stickers on everyone's door that says evacuation notice, unsafe building.
Holy shit. Yeah, I know.
And fine, not just oh, that's it, everyone's kicked out, but then also start fining the association every single day for not fiction structural issues. So
Can we schedule a call with the city of Atlantic Beach,
we can, but
or sit
that
down with
might
him and talk to him? Be like, listen, we're starting. We got to hit people with a special assessment just to show them that listen, we have money in here. We're just figuring out this contract. We're figuring out who's gonna, take over for Valcourt.
I think what you just said is a good compromise, not just to the city, but I think that's one to the residents that Mark could use. Okay, we're going to take a step back and do our due diligence and try to get this cost a bit lower. But in the meantime, we have to show the city we're making steps forward, we're taking steps forward. We're going to special assess for half the cost, 5 million up front,
No,
and get
don't
money.
even say half. Don't even say a quarter. Don't even say a third. We're just issuing a special assessment for $5 million. It could be between us. It could be half. It could be a quarter.
It
I don't
could
know
be.
how
Yeah,
much it's
you're
going to
right.
be, but that's
Yeah,
what
you're
it
right.
is. We're going to do 5 million. We think that's a good number. We think we need money in here to show the city of Atlantic Beach that hey, we're starting.
Yeah, I love that. All we have to do is talk the board into it. That helps us in a lot of ways. I mean, if we have that money sitting in the account ready to hit go, that's a huge deal because we would already be started with permits right now if we had this money 2 months ago.
That's what
We
I'm
wouldn't even
saying.
be
Like
we wouldn't
I
even
don't
be able to
know
go back
why
on Valport.
Mark. I don't know why Mark wants to continue to kick this down the road. It makes no sense to me. There's no reason why an assessment shouldn't have been already assessed. There's absolutely no reason. We should have money in there.
There's not. And if you want, you and I could change everything. We could get through this next board vote. You stay on the board and at the board
No,
we
I'm
could
not
ask to
staying on the
have the
board.
positions.
I'm not staying on the board. This is my when's my term run?
Well, that'd be at the board meeting.
Tomorrow or
Um,
today?
no, no, Monday, or that'd be April, or May 18th.
Yeah, that's probably my last day. I'm not dealing with Chris Regis. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
he's a
this
fucking
is,
snake in the grass, and he
oh,
only cares about
100%.
himself.
Yeah, 100%.
And I told
Um,
Mark that.
yeah. Um, well, would you be willing? because
Can we
this is the
vote on a,
thing.
can we vote on a special assessment today?
You can't today. You can announce that you're going to vote on it. I have to give the residents 14 days. And so, and that's a mail out notice. That's not a, hey, I'm doing it.
But
I
after the
gotta,
board meeting today, we can say, hey, Kev, tomorrow or the end of this week, we're sending out a 14-day notice saying that we're gonna assess everybody this amount.
yeah, we
Or do
could.
we have
And
to
then
vote
I
on
would,
that first?
yeah, and all you have to do is, no, you don't have to vote on it. The vote comes at the day you levy the assessment. So, we would announce it on tomorrow or tonight, and then we would say, okay, I think it's May 3rd is 14 days or something like that. We'd say, okay, May 3rd or 4th, we're having a Teams meeting where the board is levying the assessment, and that's the day you vote on it.
Yay or nay?
Yeah, and then if all five board members or three plus four board members vote yay, then it's levied. And then I start the process of setting it up in the background to collect resident funds.
I think we do that. I think we do that. Nobody responds to me. How about I send 2 follow-up emails?
Well, the problem is I don't know that the rest of the board knows what's going on, and I'm wondering if Mark is going to let that cat out of the bag. And so maybe tonight, after he lets that cat out of the bag, you could step in and say, um, this is where we should go. That way the whole board is aware and all the residents are aware of our current situation.
Just, hey, I think we got to get some money in the account. So when
We
we
have to,
do
yeah, we have to
select,
show City of Atlantic
I
Beach good
just want to
faith.
show Atlantic Beach that we're moving forward. Like, we're not just keep kicking this can down the road.
Yeah. And so if we're going to take a step back,
Should
contract
we get
wise,
rid
I
of
think we should.
Valcourt? Should we get rid of Valcourt, you think?
I'm up in the air. So far they've been quite disappointing on several levels. Um, I think Sweat, when I read through the contracts the first time or the proposals the first time, I liked Sweat. I was kind of a toss-up between Sweat and Valcourt.
Well, you remember
So
Valcourt did such a good job down the road, and we talked to the president of their board, and he had nothing but raving reviews to say about Valcourt, which is why we selected him. And Belt said they worked with them and they were good.
yeah,
So it's not like we didn't do our fucking homework.
yeah. No, it's not. We did for sure. Um, well, one more thing. So I think you already gave me your letter of intent to run for the board. If you could just think about for a second, or, for a few days, um, continuing to run, and potentially staying on and, because this is the thing. If Mark, you, um, Stephen, it's Mark, you, Stephen, and
Mark,
Mark, all three or all four run, then guess what? Then the next person is selected. You guys could select Linda Benson's husband.
well, no, because
Um,
Chris Regis and Jenny are running.
they are, but I don't know. That's tough. The only way they can get on is if we move it to seven. Um, move it to 7 members. So I don't know. I don't want to talk you into something you don't want to do, but my mind goes to
I just feel
staying
like we
on.
don't do, I feel like the board just, like, I wanted to get this assessment done like fucking a year ago. Nothing has happened. It's just annoying to me.
Yeah, no, I
I
know
like getting shit
you're
done. I don't like
yeah,
just
you like
keep
getting
kicking the
stuff done.
can. Like, we know that there's going to be assessment. There's no reason there shouldn't be at least 4 or 5 million sitting in there. Who the fuck cares
Yeah,
about the residents? And guess what? If we don't do the assessment, they get their money back. It's not like we're stealing fucking money.
no, absolutely. Um, yeah, well, when this comes out tonight, I think it would be important for us. And I don't know that it should come from me. So it would be nice coming from someone on the board that if
What?
we're gonna do this, you know.
Can you throw it out there?
Or do we have to throw it out there?
Um, can I can throw it out there. You and I can talk about how, um, yeah, let me think about it, for the day, and then you and I
All
can
right.
talk about how we're gonna do it.
All right. Give me a call whenever you think about it.
Okay, I will.
You know what? Let's do a call. Me, you, and Mark later.
Yeah, we could do that. Let me throw us three in a text real quick. He's gonna be getting off a flight, but I think he'll have time.
He's down. He's flying down today, I think.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I'll respond when you send it, and we'll see what he says. Okay.
yeah. All right, that sounds good.
All right. I'll talk to you, Kev.
All right, later.